Hi guys! So today I wanted to do a video about breastfeeding when you're vegan, and I know that's a topic that I get asked a lot about since going vegan, so we'll get straight into it. So I haven't been vegan my entire breastfeeding journey with my youngest Piper. I actually only went vegan when she was about 3 months old, so the first 3 months of her life I was breastfeeding on a normal diet, and then the past 4 and a bit months I've been breastfeeding on a vegan diet, and obviously since then she started solids as well, and she is obviously eating vegan as well. So one of the first things that I noticed when I went vegan was my milk supply. With the boys, I would often need to pump to increase my supply. I don't know if that's because they were really good sleepers and they slept through the night quite early on, which meant that I wasn't having those early morning feeds and midnight feeds, but I did need to pump to keep my supply up, and I never really had that super leaky, engorged kind of breastfeeding experience with either of them. And in the early days it was much the same with Piper, but as soon as I went vegan, so much milk leaking through everything, which sounds like a pain, but when you're a breastfeeding mum, it's a real ease on your mind to know that there's enough milk there for your baby. So that was really interesting, and I think that had more to do with what I put into my diet than what I took out of my diet. I was eating a lot more vegetables, a lot more whole foods, and that really had a good impact on my milk supply. The second question that I get asked a lot actually is whether I supplement my diet for Piper's benefit, and I do actually. I take a B12 vitamin, and I'm not sure if I would do that were I not breastfeeding, but I am breastfeeding, and so I want to make sure that I have B12 there to pass on to her, especially as it's important for brain development, and that's something that I also give my children. So Piper has been growing steadily since birth, and that was not impacted at all by me going onto a vegan diet. She's continued to climb up the same line on her weight chart, and she's doing really well in that area. She's actually crawling now much earlier than the boys. She's super active, she's super happy, and she sleeps really well in the daytime, not so much at night, but we're working on that, and since she started solids she's been doing better in that area as well. So I haven't noticed any health issues with her since I've been breastfeeding on a vegan diet, which I wouldn't expect to either. I do believe that eating vegan is the best thing for your health, and so that's why I feed my kids a vegan diet, and that's why I'm not at all concerned about breastfeeding on a vegan diet. Breastfeeding makes you super tired, and I've always had a real problem with keeping my energy levels up when I'm breastfeeding. So that's been a really cool twist to me going vegan, is that my energy levels are super high. I have plenty of energy. I don't feel as tired. I sleep better at night, and I just feel a lot better generally. So it makes breastfeeding a lot easier when I'm not worried about my energy levels, and I'm not feeling so drained and tired when I'm having to feed her. Like any diet, when you're breastfeeding, you do need to make sure that you know what your baby needs and where you can get those nutrients from in your food. So I know that at 6 months of age my baby needs more iron than dad, so I need to make sure that I eat a lot of leafy greens, spinach, anything I can that has a high level of iron in it, and that will be passed on to her through my breast milk. So just keeping that in mind, much like I do with my diet as well, I want to make sure that I'm getting the correct nutrients, and it's the same for my baby. So things like calcium, really important for growing babies, so looking for that in my foods and making sure I'm getting enough of it in my diet to pass on to her through my breast milk. Obviously I don't want to supplement her with any formula or any cow's milk, and so because I don't have that option, I think it's really important that I breastfeed as long as possible, as long as she'll let me. And it's really interesting actually, because so many people have a problem with a baby breastfeeding past 1, and the thing that they tend to say is, oh, I can't believe you're still breastfeeding, shouldn't she be on cow's milk now? That's a little bit odd, isn't it? Let's put her on the milk from another species as opposed to the human milk for a human baby that's provided by her human mother. So that's something to think about. That's really it. My breastfeeding journey hasn't changed that much. I had a little bit of increase in supply, a little bit of increase in energy, and those are both really great things for me and for Piper. But apart from that, I haven't noticed any difference in breastfeeding Piper and breastfeeding my boys, or breastfeeding Piper as a vegan and breastfeeding Piper as a non-vegan. So that's been really cool. Her growth is perfect. Everything's perfect. As a disclaimer, I want to say that I'm not a medical professional. I don't have any nutritional knowledge on breastfeeding a baby when you're on a vegan diet, but my tips to everybody who is wanting to go vegan and worried if they are breastfeeding, or even if they're pregnant, is to do your research as much as possible. Make sure you know what nutritions your baby needs and where you can get those from in your food. And if you're really concerned, there's no harm in talking to a professional about these issues, and they'll know the right direction to point you in and the right steps that you should take to make sure that you're giving your baby everything you need. And there's absolutely no reason that you cannot do that on a vegan diet. A vegan diet is the perfect diet for a human being, and so there's no reason that you and your baby can't thrive off a vegan diet. So I hope that helps anyone out there, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
All of the downs and the uppers keep making love to each other.